This is Behind the Mic with AudioFile magazine. I'm Joe Reed, and I have a new co-pilot this week, Leslie Fine. She is a contributor to AudioFile magazine, and this is her first podcast. So welcome, Leslie.
Thank you so much, Joe. I'm really excited. I enjoy these podcasts so much. I can't believe I'm actually speaking on one. I'm really excited. Thank you.
Well, we enjoy your reviews in the magazine, so hooray. So tell us, I got a glimpse of what you are going to be talking about this week, so take it away.
Well, this week, as I was looking over the titles, and I thought it's really interesting that the titles are so different. We have mostly fiction, we have short stories, we have a novella, we have some nonfiction, and I thought, what do these all have in common? And strangely, to me, every single one of these titles, I'm still thinking about the audiobook. There's some aspect of it that's remained with me that I keep thinking about, that particular moment or, what was the author getting at or the way that aspect of that character came across was so striking. So I feel like all these titles have this lasting impact.
Wow, and that's what we want from books. Yeah. Yes. So cool. So what one are we talking about today?
The first one is called In the Distance by Hernan Diaz. It's read by Alexander Skarsgard, and it is quite the title. It's an Earphones Award winner. I started thinking that it was, a typical kind of Western adventure story, and it's really so much more than that. We have our main character, Hakan, and he's separated from his brother on their way to a new life in America, and he has to make his way alone, and he's trying to figure out where his brother might have gone, and, of course, along the way, he's a stranger in a strange country, and he's just trying to get to where he needs to be and learn the language and figure out, who can he trust, and it's just, it's a very I hate to use the word like brutal, but it really is this brutally human odyssey that he goes on. And it's as I said, it has stuck with me ever since I finished the title.
I read this book when it first came out, when, like, 6 years ago, something
Oh,
like
did
that?
you
I
really?
did, yeah, and it has stayed with me.
Oh my gosh.
And you're right about it's brutal, but
Oh.
it is brutal, and I'm not saying it's not brutal, but that is simply not all it is. There's also so much humanity in this book, I think.
Yes. Right? It's incredible.
Yeah.
And that I feel that's where our narrator, his performance really is just so perfect. The only way I could describe it is that he builds this character, the character sort of resigned to, resigned to his lot and his situation, like what's going on, but then there's this intensity to it at the same time. His voice is just wonderful in this.
And we know Alexander Skarsgard, this is his first audiobook, so we know him from television and from films.
Yes. And he does, yeah, I couldn't believe I was looking around at all of the performances he's given, and he's all over the place. Like you think like, "Oh, I recognize that name." And of course, he's everywhere. He does a great job, and I don't think this will be his last audiobook.
So why don't we hear a little bit from Alex Skarsgard, and then we can talk a little bit more about his performance. Do you want to set this up for us?
Sure. So this is Hakan and his brother Linus are getting ready to go to America, for a better life from their native Sweden.
All right, this is In the Distance by Hernan Diaz, read by Alexander Skarsgard.
They arrived in Portsmouth much later than expected, and everyone was in a great hurry to get on the rowboats that took him to shore. As soon as Håkan and Lena set foot on the wharf, they were sucked in by the current of people bustling up and down the main road. They walked side by side, almost jogging. Now and then, Linus turned to his brother to teach him something about the oddities around them. Both of them were trying to take it all in as they looked for their next ship, which was to leave that very afternoon.
My God, I love the rising momentum, right, in his narration as the character is trying to take in everything he's seeing all around him.
Right?
His voice, his pacing, it's so suited.
It's almost, like, cinematic.
Yeah,
I just felt like, "Oh my gosh," and one thing leads to another, and it's like, oh, yeah, that really grabbed me.
I hope he does narrate more audiobooks.
I do too. I thought it was just a great, great job.
And Earphones Award, so go Alexander, let's hear more from you. Leslie, thank you so much, and I will talk to you tomorrow.
Thanks very much.
That was Leslie Fine. We were talking about In the Distance by Hernan Diaz. It's read by Alexander Skarsgard. And don't forget to stop by audiofilemagazine.com where you can find hundreds of reviews. I'm Jo Reed. I'll talk to you tomorrow.